the Army does is they measure out a baseline survey distance between your 2 points. These are called base end stations. They're leveled out 1/3 of the maximum range of the guns. So we can shoot 9 miles, 3-mile baseline. Sitting inside each of those plotting stations is a high-powered azimuth telescope, which you will get to see in operation on the roof of the Harbor Entrance Control Post when we walk up to Battery Potter. Each telescope sits on a 360-degree azimuth ring that corresponds to the one that you see running around the perimeter of the board. So what's going to happen is when the spotters look at the target, you get a triangle. One angle, or one known side and 2 angles. There's your bad guys right there. Now, you were asking about the bell. That's the heartbeat of the gun battery. We have no computers, calculators, and radars in its infancy in 1943, so this is essentially about as low-key and as analog as you can get. What's going to happen, that bell will ring in this room, inside each plotting station, and inside up on the gun platforms every 15 seconds. On the ding of the 3rd bell, the spotter who's looking through his telescope, he will stop for a split second, and there's a soldier standing next to him wearing a head and chest microphone set up identical to the ones you see hanging here in the middle of the room. On that bell, he'll call that bearing off. And the reason you've got the bell is so that both plots arrive at the precise time. You've got an NCO, usually a sergeant or a corporal, kneeling on the board. Now, if you think this one is big, the ones for the 16-inch guns, which can shoot 25 miles, they're 15 feet across. So you need somebody up here. And what he's doing on that mark, because what's going to happen when these guys hear your numbers, they're just going to move the arms, you make a pencil point at each intersection. And then you're going to do it again, and so forth. Do we have the prediction scale?
I don't see the prediction scale. What it is, so we've made multiple points. Yeah, we've made multiple points. Once we've got 4 or 5 of them, and we can measure how far apart they are, you can scale how fast they're moving, and you can predict, okay, in another 15 seconds, assuming he doesn't turn, where will he be? Once you've done that, you can take this arm, and this is a scaled arm with distance from where the gun's located. You can lay it over that point where you think he's going to be, and it can tell you how far away it is and what the angle is at that point. Now that sounds pretty complicated, but it's not nearly that simple because then you have to take into account all sorts of other factors, especially with the bigger guns, the rotation of the earth, because we are spinning real slowly, other things like that.
Okay, this is what we were looking for. This is your computer in 1943. I love watching school kids react to this being called a computer. It's hilarious. What this is, this is your basic slide rule. Now, we were talking about you're marking out where the ship has been. You're going to measure out 4 or 5 of those dots with this little device here called prediction scale. It's a 6-inch ruler. You'll figure out speed of the vessel, bearing, like you're talking about where it's actually heading and how much ground it's covered. Let's say, for argument's sake, the offending ship is covered about 250 yards in a 60-second cycle. We'll push this out to the 250-yard mark, and it's going to give us a set forward point of 500 yards. We're not shooting at where the ship is, but we have to lead it, kind of like a quarterback leading a receiver cutting across the field. So, quick as a flash, what we would do, we would sweep these 2 arms out of the way. The plotter would measure out to the 500-yard mark. Mark that here. If I could take the gun arm like we were talking about, this represents us. We drop that over that last predicted point. Now we have range and we have bearing. And this happens every 15 seconds. Now, as we were speaking before about, there's a lot of variables that go in. When we pull the lanyard and that shell clears the end of the tube, you're not just dealing with, okay, big bullet goes at target. The Earth does not stop rotating. This shell's going to hang in the air for 30 seconds. A 16-inch projectile weighing more than a ton will take a minute and a half to get to its target. In the cosmic scheme of things, that's a lot of time period, and you actually have to factor in how fast the Earth is moving and which way it's rotating underneath of you. We have the atmospheric board over there. We have to take atmospheric pressure readings every 1,000 feet. Each 1,000 feet you go up, different air density, different airspeed, different directions. So that shell is literally going to blow back and forth as it goes down range. Powder temperature is important because that's combustion and that will also affect your range. Individual weight of shells, barrel erosion. All these variables are being factored in 4 times a minute. Think you guys could do that?